let's start off a little bit at neck and shoulders. So sitting on a pillow or a bolster, sit up nice and tall. Let's bring right hand out to the side, palm facing out. Left ear to left shoulder. Feel the stretch in your neck and shoulder on the right side. Keeping the left ear down, start to look down to the floor. Start to look up to the ceiling. Go back and forth a few times. We'll do the same thing on the other side. Left hand out to the side, right ear to right shoulder, and start to lift the chin to look up, lower the chin to look down. A few times back and forth. Come on back to the first arm, bring it behind the back to the opposite hip, sit up nice and tall, turn the eyes over to the left, tuck the chin down, feeling it more so in the shoulder in this position here. And then maybe again, looking up to the ceiling, looking down to the floor, just exploring the angles. To the other side, left hand behind the back to opposite hip, sit up nice and tall, look over to the right, tuck the chin down to the chest, feel that stretch in the shoulder, and again, option to look up, and then look down, back and forth a few times. Let's come on back. A couple shoulder shrugs here. We'll come into some wrists. Let's interlace the fingers and just start to draw some figure eights. Nice and gentle. Keeping the elbows into the ribs. And switch directions with the figure eights. From here, bring the wrists to touch, roll around to the back of the wrists, and following through. A few circles here, keeping the pressure into the wrists. Switching directions. And then just shake them out. Option to stay on the pillow, or you can get rid of it. Start by bringing the legs out in front, crossing left leg over right. Right leg goes from 12 to the 10 o'clock position. Reach both hands forward, and then left hand to the outside of right ankle. Let's start to draw some circles with the right toes. Switching directions. Let's come back to center here. Right leg over left. Left leg goes from 12 to 2 o'clock. Reach both hands forward. Right hand to the outside of left leg. And again, let's start to draw some circles. Switching directions. Let's bring both legs out in front. From here, left leg goes out to 10 o'clock, right foot to the inner thigh. Start to lean over towards the left. Can't see it, but curl the left toes in towards the shin. And then your right hand reaches behind you and then up. Reaching the right fingertips over towards the left toes, looking up to the ceiling underneath that arm as long as you can until you reach in front of the face. Follow through, bring that arm behind you again. Reach up and over. A few times here. Let's come on up. Both legs out in front, same thing to the other side. Right leg out to 2 o'clock, left foot to the inner thigh, reaching the right hand to the inside of the right leg, left hand comes behind you, inhale to reach up, reaching over, curling the toes into the shin, reaching the fingertips towards the toes, follow through. A few more here. Once more. And come on back to center. Bend both legs, hands come behind you, feet come nice and wide. Curl the toes up and let's rock the hips from side to side. Try to keep your chest square to the front. Pivoting on the heels. Let's fall over to the left side. Frame the left knee with both hands. Sit up nice and tall. Exhale, wave the chest over that knee. Inhale to wave up. Let's do that a few rounds. Maybe bringing the chest a little bit more over the shin, just to deepen the stretch, playing with a different angle. Same thing to the other side. Pivot on the heels, falling over to the right knee. Frame both hands around the knee. Inhale, sit up tall. Exhale, wave the chest. And come on up. A few rounds. From here, option again. Bring the chest a little bit more over the shin to deepen the stretch. Let's come on up here. Curl through the back toes to lift the heel up. You can bring the knee back a little bit farther. Start to squeeze through the glutes, lean the hips forward as you drop back to right elbow from here. Left hand to left thigh. Squeezing the hips forward to get that thigh stretch, and then inhale, reach your left arm up. Exhale, reach in front of the face. follow through. And again. Reach in front of the face, follow through. Few rounds here. Last one. Let's come on up to the other side. Same idea. Curl through the back toes, open up the angle of the knee, squeeze the hips forward, dropping back to left elbow, right hand to right thigh. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, follow through. Few rounds. And let's come on up. Rock the hips from side to side. Just to even things out. Coming into the cat-cow sequence here, let's spin around into a tabletop. Wrists under shoulders, knees under hips. Option to curl the toes or push the tops of the feet down. Whatever feels best. Patting your knees and wrists as needed. On an inhale, start to arch the low back. Stick the tailbone up. Shine your chest forward. Lift the gaze up. On an exhale, tuck through the tailbone, round through the spine. Separate your shoulder blades. Tuck the chin. Look to your belly button. Inhaling again to look up. Exhaling to look down. Few rounds back and forth. Let's come back to a neutral spine. Extend your right leg straight back and over to the left. From here, lean the hips over towards the right side. Feel that stretch in the outside of the right hip here. From here, step that right foot up to the 3 o'clock position, foot flat, toes pointing forward, leaning forwards and back. Coming down to forearms and elbows, if you're so inclined. Keeping the right leg where it is. Inhale, reach the right hand up. Little twist. And then lower down. Reaching up. Lowering down. Once more. Lowering down. Come back to the tabletop. We'll do the same thing on the other side. Left leg extends straight back and over towards the right. Lean the hips over towards the left. Again, feeling that stretch in the outside of the left hip here. Let's step the left leg up to the 9 o'clock position. Foot flat, toes pointing forward, leaning forwards and backwards. Again, option to come down to forearms and elbows if you like. Keeping the left leg where it is. Inhale, reaching the left hand up. Little twist, and then lower down. A few times. Let's come on back down. We're gonna come to the recline sequence next. Falling back. Arms out into a capital T, palms facing up. Heel toe the feet a little bit wider apart. And let's just start to windshield wiper the knees back and forth. Bring the knees back up to neutral, heel toe the feet a little bit closer together. Option to keep the arms here or bend the elbows into cactus arms, whichever feels best. Let's cross left leg over right into a figure four, and let's start to windshield wiper this position back and forth. As it starts to warm up, when you come over to the left side, bring both knees down to the floor, to the left. Then as you come on up, bring both knees down to the floor, to the right, adding a little more rotation into the hips to do so. From here, zipping the inner thighs together, no space between the inner thighs. Bring both hands up to the ceiling, palms facing in. Bring your knees into your chest, and then just flop over to the right. Inhale, reaching the left arm up and overhead. Exhale to twist. Eyes follow the gaze. Eyes follow the hands. Few rounds. Let's come on back up. Driving the left heel up to the ceiling, interlace your hands behind that hamstring. And let's just curl and point the toes a few times. A bit more for the calves and ankles. And then bend the knee into the chest. Keep the knee there as you try to straighten out the leg. And then bend. Straighten out. Bend back and forth a few times for that hamstring stretch. And let's release that leg down. Arms back out into capital T or cactus arms, crossing right leg over left. Let's start to windshield wiper this situation back and forth. As this warms up, when you fall over to the right side, try to bring both knees flat to the floor. As you fall over to the left side, both knees flat to the floor. Few rounds here, back and forth. From here, zip the inner thighs together. No space between the inner thighs. Bring the knees into the chest. Hands reach up, palms facing in, and then flop over towards the left. Inhaling, reach the right arm up and overhead. Exhale to twist. Eyes follow the hands. Few rounds. Let's come on back. Extending the right leg up to the ceiling. Interlace your hands behind the right hamstring. Point and curl the toes a few rounds. And then bend that right knee into the chest. And then extend the leg straight. Let it go. Extend the leg straight. Let it go. Few rounds for the hamstring. Let's release, both feet down, arms back out, and then feet nice and wide. Let's just windshield wiper the knees back and forth just to even things out. Maybe bringing the knees into the chest. Rock on up. Last sequence here, we're going to come into our child's pose sequence. So knees nice and wide, sit the hips back to the heels, coming into child's pose. From here, pause the video, spend as much time in child's pose as you like. Or, moving forward, let's bring the shoulders over the fingertips, keeping the tailbone tucked, not letting the low back arch. Sit back again. And forward. And back. Playing with the micro push-ups. Maybe each time you come forward, you're going to challenge to lower yourself down a bit more. However low you go, try to lead with the chest. Try to keep the belly nice and strong. Resisting the temptation to lead through the nose, keeping the head back instead. Pause the video here, as many rounds as you like. Or, coming forward, lower all the way down. Let's see how much I can fit in here. Let's start by reaching the fingertips back into a capital A, resting the forehead onto the floor. Reach the fingertips back to the feet, reach the palms up to the ceiling, squeeze through the shoulder blades. From capital A, let's swoop out to the side, palms rotate, thumbs point up to capital T, and then back down to A. Up to T, down to A, a few more, T, A, T, A. Next time coming up to T, follow through into a capital Y shape. Point your thumbs out, face your palms up, and then back down to T. Up to Y, down to T. Last one, up to Y, and then down to A. Release the fingertips. Drag the hands under the shoulders, shift up and back into a child's pose. A little release through the low back. Last thing here, everybody's favorite. Bring the hands into a diamond shape under the forehead, bend both knees. Option for double leg butt munchers first. Brace the core. Lift the knees up, squeeze the heels together, squeeze the knees apart, and then lower down. Lift and lower, lift and lower. Option to continue on, or push the left thigh down to the floor, lift the right thigh up off the floor, single leg, and then lower. Lift and lower. Pause here, a few more, or push the right thigh down, lift the left leg up, and release. Lift, and release. Feet come down here, shift up and back. As many rounds of that as you like.